In the dark silence of deep space, only broken ships and cold metal floated. Long ago, this place was a battlefield. Now, it was forgotten. Just debris spinning around an old asteroid belt. Captain Roran sat in the control seat of his small ship, the Starhopper. He was a scavenger now, a man who once fought in wars but now searched for scrap. His job was to find old tech, clean it, and sell it. Nothing special. Just survive. But today was different. His ship's computer picked up something strange. Unknown signal detected, the system said. Roran looked at the screen. It was a distress beacon, a human one, but the code was old. Very old. It hadn't been used in over 100 years. Is this a joke? He muttered. Or a trap? Still, curiosity pushed him forward. He followed the signal. It led him toward the wreck of a large Terran dropship. Its hull was cracked, burned from weapons fire. One side was torn open, revealing metal bones and wires like a dead animal. Roran flew close and docked his ship. He grabbed his helmet and flashlight, then entered. The old ship. Inside was quiet. The air was cold and still. Light flickered from emergency panels. The walls were covered in black soot and dry blood. Roran moved slowly, his footsteps echoing in the silence. He checked each room. Empty. Then he reached the cargo bay. There, surrounded by broken crates and old weapons, was a cryopod. Its glass cover was covered in frost, but he could see someone inside. A woman. She wore heavy Terran armor, old style. From the first Hive War. It was battle damaged, burnt at the edges. But the armor still looked functional. Roran walked closer. He wiped the frost from the glass. Her face was calm, peaceful. She looked like she was sleeping. He checked the pod's control panel. The system was still running. Vitals were stable. Cryo time, 150 years. Roran blinked. This can't be right. He said, that war ended generations ago. Suddenly, something made him stop. The armor. It was warm. Not hot. Not overheating, just freshly warm. Like someone had just stepped out of it. His breath caught. The pod's log showed something worse. It had been opened once, just recently. Maybe hours ago. But how? He whispered. A light beeped. Then the pod hissed. Steam burst from the sides as the glass slowly opened. Roran stepped back, hand on his sidearm. He wasn't sure what to expect. Was she alive? Was this a trap? The woman gasped suddenly and sat up straight. Her eyes were wild, confused. She looked around, breathing hard. Then she grabbed the edge of the pod and jumped out. Her legs shook, but she stood strong. She looked at Roran. Where's my squad? She asked, her voice dry and sharp. Roran hesitated. I don't know who you are. I just found you. Her eyes narrowed. The Hive, did we win? Did we hold the line? Roran blinked. The Hive War ended 150 years ago. She stared at him in silence, then she collapsed to her knees. No, she whispered. That's not possible. We were still fighting. We were still there. Roran stepped closer. What's your name? She looked up slowly. Captain Kayla Tiran, 19th Terran Assault Division. That unit doesn't exist anymore, he said carefully. It's part of history now. Her hands trembled. But I was there. I remember the last attack. We were losing. Then everything went black. I thought we died. Suddenly, a noise echoed through the old ship. A low hum, like something powering up. Far away, Roran's hand went to his communicator. Something's out there. He said. Kala stood up. Still shaky. They followed us, she said. They always follow. Roran looked confused. Who? Kayla turned to him. The Hive, she said. But the Hive was destroyed. He said. She shook her head. No, we only buried them. They were never dead. The lights flickered. In the distance, deep in space. Another signal blinked unknown, fast. And closing in, Roran stared at the screen. Oh no, he muttered. Kal picked up a broken rifle from the floor and looked at him. If I survive, they did too. And if they're coming back, we're not ready. Asterisk Captain Roran watched the woman closely. She was no ordinary soldier. Kayla stood in the old cargo bay, her hand still gripping the broken rifle. Her armor, scratched and burned, shimmered faintly under the flickering lights. Her eyes were open, but her mind was far away. 10 minutes ago. Inside her mind, flashes of light, screams, explosions. Kayla ran through fire, her squad beside her. Hive creatures, tall, sharp, and fast poured from black tunnels. Her voice echoed through cums. Hold the line. No one backs down. Then a bright light. Pain. Silence. Then cold. Present. Back on the ship. I don't remember how I got into the pod, she said, her voice low. Roran nodded. The system says someone locked you in. Maybe one of your own. Kayla looked at her hands. We were dying. Maybe they thought cryo sleep would save one of us. She looked around the ruined ship. This was ours, she said softly. A dropship from Terra Prime. We were on mission Black Ember. Deep strike. No return. Roran raised an eyebrow. That mission's name never made it into any records. Of course not, she said. It was off book. Secret command. We were hunting the Hive's queen. Roran's eyes widened. You were going after the Hive queen? Kayla nodded slowly. We got close, too close. Suddenly, the floor beneath them shook just once, not like an explosion. More like something huge had moved. Rowan checked his scanner. That signal from before is stronger now, and moving. Kayla didn't seem surprised. They're waking up, she said. The Hive never dies. They sleep, evolve, and return stronger. Rowan swallowed hard. But we thought we destroyed them. You destroyed a version of them, Kayla said. They adapt. Every time. Elsewhere. Unknown location far below the asteroid's crust. Something shifted. A hive cocoon cracked open. Inside, black limbs twitched. Multi-eyed heads turned toward the sky. Something had changed. Something had returned. Back on the shipwreck. Led Kayla to the Starhopper. We need to leave. Now, he said. But Kayla paused at the ship's door. I can't run. Not again. You're not running. You're surviving, he said. Kayla stared into space. Then slowly stepped in. Inside the cockpit. Kayla looked at the control screens. She didn't recognize the design. Everything was newer, sleeker, too clean. Technology moved on, Roran said. But I think your story didn't. Kayla tilted her head. What do you mean? I searched your name. Your unit. There's no mention of you, not even in hidden files. It's like you were erased. Kella's face turned hard. They wanted it buried. If they hid the mission, they must have known the truth. The Hive wasn't gone. Suddenly, a red alert flashed. Proximity warning. Object incoming. Rowan looked at the screen. No ID. No heat. Just mass. Kayla stood up, her voice steady. That's them. How do you know? He asked. Because I remember that silence before they attack, she said. And they never come alone. Outside the ship, a shape moved in the dark, long and sharp like a blade, its body hidden in a cloak of shadows. It didn't fly, it glided. Silent. Deadly. Watching. Waiting. Back. Inside, Kayla opened a panel near the wall and pulled out a black chip with a faded military seal. What's that? Rowan asked. A backup. A data core from the mission. It holds everything: maps, hive structures, command secrets. I had it on me before the last stand. She placed it into Roran's system. Images filled the screen. Hive tunnels. Weapon designs. Experimental tech. And one word blinking at the bottom. Phoenix Protocol, last stage, not activated. Roran read it aloud. What's Phoenix Protocol? Kayla looked at him. It's what we were supposed to use to destroy the Hive Queen, and it failed. We never activated it. I think they stopped us. Final scene, the ship's lights dimmed for a second. Outside, more signals appeared. Faint, cold, inhuman. Kayla looked at Roran. If they're back, then we need to finish. What we started. We're inside. I'm just a salvager, not a hero. She gave a small smile. Neither was I until they gave me no choice. Ryan looked at the blinking signals. Looks like we're in it now. Kayla loaded the broken rifle, checked the chamber, and gave him a nod. They buried the truth. But we're still alive, Roran smirked. Let's wake the galaxy up. The hum of the Starhopper's engines faded into silence as it entered orbit around a forgotten moon. Captain Roran had seen many strange things in deep space, but nothing like her. Kayla sat in the medical bay, her hands resting on her knees, still wearing her cracked armor. The wounds on her body had already started to close too fast. No blood, no pain. She wasn't healing like a normal human. She wasn't just human anymore. Seen. Medical scan room. Ron activated the scanner. A beam of blue light moved over Kayla's body. The screen blinked, then blinked again, then stopped completely. Error. Unknown genome detected. He frowned. What the hell? Kayla didn't move. Her eyes stayed fixed on the ceiling. I felt it back then, she said quietly. Something changed in me after the injections. Roran stared at her. What injections? They said it was protection. Faster reflexes, stronger bones, no fear. Said we'd be ready for anything. You mean like super soldier programs? Kayla gave a slow nod. They called us Project Revenant. Chosen from the best. Enhanced to survive anything. Even death. Roran's voice dropped. And you didn't know the side effects? We were too busy dying to care. Flashback to 150 years. Kayla stood in line with her squad. Long white corridors. A cold lab. A man in a white coat with a Terran emblem injected something into her neck. You will feel pain, then clarity, then power. She did. For 3 days she couldn't sleep, couldn't stop shaking. Could hear every sound, even through steel walls. Then came the silence and the strength. Presentrin leaned against the wall. So you're genetically modified. Taylor looked at him. I'm still human, but not the same one I was. He showed her the scan results. Your DNA is rewritten. You have hive code inside you. Her eyes snapped to his. What? He zoomed in. See the sequence. It's not Terran. It's hive biocode. Someone merged it with your genome. Taylor stood slowly. They used the enemy's biology to build soldiers. And you didn't know? She shook her head. No, we were told we'd be stronger. Not infected. Elsewhere, Hive Scout reporting the black vacuum near the moon. Something crawled across a dead satellite. Thin limbs. Glowing eyes. It clicked. I had found her. The one Dash who woke. Back on the ship. Kayla stared at her own reflection in a piece of metal. What am I now? She asked. You're still a soldier, Roran said. And maybe the only one who can stop what's coming. But if the hive code is in me, she said, what if I'm connected to them? What if they can hear me? The ship lights flickered. Then a voice came through the comms, distorted, insect-like. Welcome home, sister. Both of them froze. That wasn't you, right? Roran said quickly. Kayla didn't answer. Emergency. Incoming, the scanner screamed. A ship, no. A creature was approaching fast. Not built. Grown. Living metal and bone. Hive. Dash tech. Brace yourself. Roran shouted. Kel grabbed the controls. Her eyes flickered strangely sharp, golden for a second. She moved like a pilot. Trained for years. Trust me, she said. I remember how they fly. Space battle. Short and sharp, the hive creature ship fired acid like plasma. The Starhopper dodged fast, barely missing death. Kella's reflexes were beyond human. Her hands moved faster than the ship's. I could calculate. Roran looked at her, wide-eyed. You've done this before. I've become this before, she said. Aftermath, the hive ship exploded, but not before it sent out a signal. A beacon, not a warning, a call. Back in the med bay, Kayla looked at the scan again. And maybe I didn't survive the war, she said. Maybe I became what the war created. Roran nodded slowly. Then maybe you're the weapon we need now. The computer beeped. New incoming signals. 12 hive signatures. Kayla stood up. Her face calm. Then it begins again. Asterisk. The void was. Quiet. Quiet. Captain Aurora knew space could be silent, but this was different. Even the hum of his ship's systems felt distant. Wrong. Like the ship was holding its breath. Kayla stood at the front window, eyes locked on the stars. They're here, she said softly. Rowan checked the radar. Nothing. Just empty space. No ships. No movement. No heat. But Kayla didn't blink. They don't use signals like us, she said. They drift. They wait. They learn. Outside, unseen in the blackness beyond the ship, something moved. Not fast, not loud, but there, along. Thin body blended into the starfield like a shadow that forgot to vanish. It had no engines, no lights, just hundreds of legs that gripped onto nothing. Crawling forward, is watching and listening. Inside the ship, Ren brought up defense systems. I don't see anything. Are you sure it's not? Stop, Kayla said. Her voice was flat. Her head tilted slightly, like she was hearing something far away. Then she whispered, "They're speaking." To you? He asked. No. She said, to each other? Through me? Roran stepped back. Her eyes were glowing faintly, now gold, like before. She blinked and looked at him. The glow faded. I can hear fragments, she said. Memory's not mine. A voice made of many. Roran frowned. You're connected. Half of me is still theirs, she said. That's how they find us. Memory flash. The hives. View a short, haunting vision struck Kayla's mind. She was floating through space, eyes not hers, bones like metal. She saw the Starhopper from the outside, her own face, watching herself. Then darkness. Present. A gasped and leaned against the wall. They've been watching us since the asteroid, she said. Following, not attacking, studying. Rowan clenched his jaw. So, what do? We need to go dark, she said. Shut down all signals. They track movement, heat, light. We'll be blind, he said. We'll be alive. She replied. They power down. The ship went silent. Lights dimmed. Engines cut off. Now they drifted. No one spoke. Even the air felt heavier. Then. A soft scratching noise. Roran froze. Kayla's hand slowly reached for his side. Panel. The sound grew louder. Something was on the hull. Outside, the lurker, a hive drone, thin as wire, crawled along the outside of the ship. Its body merged with the metal. It opened one eye tiny, red, and hateful. And injected a needle-thin spike into the hull, and began to listen. Back in Akila turned her head sharply. They're in, she whispered. Roran grabbed his gun. What do you mean, in? She pointed at the wall. That's not a wall anymore. Suddenly, the panel pulsed like something breathing. Beneath it, Roran fired. The blast lit up the dark. The wall cracked. Black liquid poured out alive. Kayla pulled them back. This isn't just tech anymore. It's grown, high biometal. Emergency. Escape alarms blinked silently. They couldn't use sound. They couldn't risk attracting more. Roran activated a manual override. The escape path lit up dim red. We go to the forward lab, he said. Shielded walls. We can flush the infection from there. Kayla nodded. But as they moved, she stopped. One door was open. It shouldn't have been. And inside, a body. Not. Dead. Half human. Half hive. Torn armor. One glowing eye. It looked at her. And smiled. The hybrid Kala stepped forward. It spoke. Not with words, but through her own thoughts. Sister, you returned to us. She clutched her head. Get back. Roran shouted, aiming his weapon. Kayla held out her hand. No. Wait. The creature limped forward. You survived the cryo. That means you're the key, it said. Kayla's voice cracked. What key? To open what they closed. To finish what you started. Then the creature lunged. Kel. Fired. It screamed. High, glass-breaking sound and melted into black ash. Roran exhaled. What the hell was that? Kayla was shaking. That was what I might become, she said, back in the forward lab. They sealed the doors. Kayla connected her blood to the ship's bioscan port, something never meant to work. But it did. New files unlocked. Hidden data from her mission. She CROLLED and found it. Project Phoenix final stage. Reconnection. With source mind, Roran leaned in. What's the source mind? Kayla stared into the screen. The Hive Queen never died, she said. They just cut her off. Roran's voice dropped. And now? She wants to speak again. The ship had stopped running. Now. It was digging. Not into rock, but into memory. Captain Roran sat across from Kayla in the Starhopper's forward lab. Screens glowed around them, each showing fragments of old Terran files unlocked by Kayla's. Blood. She was silent, eyes focused. Face blank. Like she already knew what was coming. Classified archive number 19. Access guarantee. The files had no names. Just code words and red stamps. Classified? Phoenix Protocol. Redacted by order of High Command. Kayla opened one. It was a video. Grainy. Old. A briefing room. A voice spoke. The Hive Queen cannot be destroyed by force. But we've discovered resonance fields within her mind. If we can connect a genetically matched host, one carrying Hive code, we may overwrite her consciousness. We call it Project Phoenix. Kayla's hand clenched. The screen continued. Another voice spoke. But the process is fatal to the host. The code will burn them out. Therefore, volunteers must not be told. They must believe they're going into fight. Present, Alice. Voice was barely a whisper. They sent us there to die. Rowan said nothing. She turned to him, eyes hollow. We weren't soldiers. We were keys, disposable. She opened another file. It showed her team laughing, training. Standing proud in their armor. Then came the mission order. Black Ember Protocol. Clean strike. No recovery. No comes. No witnesses. Flashback. The last stand. Kayla remembered. Now. Her squad had reached the Hive core. They were surrounded. Her commanding officer, General Harrow, had appeared on screen. Hold the line. Backup is coming. It was the lie. No one came. Hive creatures poured in. Kayla was pulled into blackness. Injected into a cryo-pod. By her squad mate. Soren. He looked. Into her eyes. You're the only one left with the code. I'm sorry. Then darkness. Back to now. Kayla sat with her head down. Roran placed a hand on her shoulder. You didn't fail them. They failed us, she said. Rowan nodded. But now, you know the truth. That means you get to fight it. New signal detected. The ship's console blinked. Old Terran. Outpost. Detected designation. Reapers. Neskella stared at it. That was our fallback base. If anything went wrong, we were supposed to return there. Rowan looked confused. Why would Command leave a fallback base for a suicide mission? She turned to him. They didn't. We built it without permission, my squad's idea. Hidden. Off the grid. Rowan leaned in. Then maybe that's where the real answers are. Scene shift. Reaper's Nest. A ghost base they landed on. The surface of a cold, dark moon. The outpost was buried beneath ice and stone. Its doors opened, slowly groaning, like something ancient waking up. Inside were empty beds, dusty gear, and one thing that shouldn't have been there. A working AI terminal. Kayla. Powered it up. Terminal booted. Codename. Warden. Welcome back. Captain Kayla Tieran. Final log sequence available. She opened the final log. It was from Soren, her squad mate. His voice played. If you're hearing this, you lived, and I'm glad. But you need to know, Command sold us out. The mission was never to win. It was to test you. You were the strongest, the only one with stable Hive integration. They'd planned to wipe us all, then use what they learned on others. We weren't soldiers. We were samples. Kella's hand shook. I put you in cryo, hoping time would make things better. If it didn't, then finish what we couldn't. The message ended. Kayla turned away and cried. For the first time in a century, Roran stepped outside the base dot and froze dot in the sky. Above, a shape moved in orbit dot, not a ship, not alive. Satellite dot TERRAN dot broadcasting an active signal. Project Phoenix stage TWO initiator drawn. Whispered, "They're still running it." He ran inside. "Kayla, we're not alone. Someone else is watching all this. Terran Command never shut this down." Kayla stood, face calm now. They didn't shut it down because it worked. Rowan looked at her. "You mean you?" Kayla nodded. "I am the Phoenix." The moon was dead. Its surface was cracked like old bone, and its air tasted of rust and silence. Kayla stood at the entrance of Reaper's Nest, the hidden outpost her squad built in secret built to be their last line if the mission failed. It was never meant to be found again, but now it was waking up. Seen. Sublevel, unsealed, an ancient door groaned as it slid open. Rowan held the light steady while Kayla led the way. The air was colder down here. Not natural cold, engineered cold. Designed to preserve something. They walked down a narrow tunnel, walls lined with worn Terran markings and claw scratches. At the end, a chamber, circular, silent dot in the center. A vault, steel wrapped in living hive tissue, fused like a scar that refused to heal. Kella's memory returns, her breath caught. "This is where they hid it," she said. "What is it?" Roran asked. Kayla stepped closer. "I don't know its full name. But we called it the Spine." Roran tilted his head. "Weapon?" "More than that," she said. "A bridge. Built from hive tech and human minds. It was designed to connect to the hive source brain and override it." Roran's voice dropped. "So, you hijacked their entire race?" Kayla nodded. "One mind, one chance. But it needed a host strong enough to survive the merge." She placed her hand on the vault. The host was supposed to be me. Flashback, construction memory in a foggy vision. Kayla remembered her squad wiring hive cores into human metal. Screaming, the hive tissue reacting. One of them burned alive by feedback, but they finished it, and then they buried it. .2. Dangerous to use. .2 powerful to destroy. Present. Vault awakens. The vault pulsed under Kayla's touch. It scanned her hand, recognized her blood. The chamber lights flickered. Then it opened. Inside lay a pod. Not a cryopod. A neural pod. A seat shaped like a spine, wires like veins. It looked alive. Roran stepped back. "That thing looks like it wants to eat you." Kayla didn't move. "It's not a weapon," she whispered. "It's a key to a second mind. Not hive, not human. Something new." Roran frowned. "That sounds worse." "Kella's dilemma? If I enter it," she said, "I may lose myself. I may become what the hive wanted." Roran looked at her. "Then why even risk it?" Kayla turned to him. "Because I don't. They win. Elsewhere. The hive reacts on a distant world, deep underground. Something screamed. A hive priest. More machine than flesh. Staggered. The Phoenix awakens. It hissed. The Queen's old throne, empty for a century, lit up with new energy. They had feared her, but they had also prepared for her. Return got back in the chamber. Kayla walked toward the pod. Rowan grabbed her arm. "If you go in there, I don't know if I will get you back." Kayla smiled weakly. "I don't think anyone ever got me back." She sat in the pod. It wrapped around her, like it remembered. Her shape, like it had been waiting. Sync. Begin's lights spun. The walls trembled. Kayla's eyes rolled back, gold and black flashing inside her pupils. She saw a sky not of stars, but of thoughts. Millions of hive minds blinking, living, feeding. But beneath it was space. Empty, lonely, and one voice. Not hive. A recorded memory. Her own voice. "If you're hearing this, it means you're still trying to save them." System unlock. The weapon wasn't meant to destroy. It was meant to rewrite. Not kill the hive. But change them. Shift their instinct. Rebuild their purpose. Give them something humans feared. Conscience. Kayla came back. Gasping. Eyes glowing. But still. Herself. The pod had accepted her. The weapon was active. Now what? Roran asked, stunned. K-A-L. That stood taller than before. Stronger. They built me to end the war, she said. But I'm not here to end it. I am here to change it. Roran looked at the scanner. Hive signals were coming. Fast. Then we better move, he said. Kayla smiled. For the first time, I think we're ready. Space was no longer silent. Now it was screaming. The hive had arrived, not as one ship, but as a swarm. A sky of living metal. Wings like blades. Eyes like stars gone dark. They weren't just coming to kill. They were coming to finish what began. 150 years ago, and Kayla was waiting. Scene. Starhopper. Final launch. Captain Roran stood by the controls of the Starhopper. Lights blinked red. Engines were hot. Weapons. Online. Kayla stepped into the cockpit. But she wasn't just a soldier now. She was something new. Alive, but not just human. Connected, but not controlled. The weapon inside you, Roran asked. Is it stable? Kayla's voice was calm. It's not a weapon anymore. Roran frowned. Then what is it? She looked out the window where the hive swarm drifted closer. A message. Cut to Earth orbit command ship. Valiant. Far away. A tearing command vessel hovered above. Earth. The generals had been watching everything. Project Phoenix had succeeded, but they were afraid. She's connected to the hive now. One admiral. Sighed. She's compromised. No, another whispered. She's something else. Do we terminate the link? Silence. No one gave the order, because part of them wanted to see what she would do. Scene. Above Reaper's nest. The swarm. A Procheska stood on the outer platform, exposed to space in her armor. No helmet, no shield. Just her in the void. Her eyes glowed with gold static. The hive swarm surrounded the moon. Then they stopped. Not a shot fired. Not a scream. Just waiting. Roran watched from the screen. They're not attacking. They're listening, Kayla said. She took one step forward. And sent a signal. Flashback. Inside her mind, her thoughts entered the hive's web. Billions of voices screamed, but she didn't fight them. She didn't command them. She showed them. Her memories, her pain, her squad, her betrayal, her survival. She shared everything. Not with violence, but with truth. The queen speaks from deep. Within the swarm, a voice echoed in her head. Why do you speak like prey? Kayla answered aloud, her voice calm, because I was made prey. Then I became the weapon. You are part of us. And still a part. I was built to end you, she said. And now? Kayla closed her eyes. I choose to change you. The hive reacts. Some screamed. Some collapsed. Some UNDERSTO ripple passed through the swarm. Not of destruction, but evolution. The link held. The queen, or what remained of her, became silent. Then a new voice whispered. Soft. Young. What now? Kella's eyes glowed brighter. We rebuild. Earth Command responds back on the Terran ship. Red alerts blinked. No hive movement. No attack. No readings of hostility. Impossible, one general said. Then the AI announced. Incoming. Message. Encrypted from Reaper's nest. They played it. Kella's voice. You built me to be your weapon. But I chose not to be your monster. The hive can change. But only if we do first. If you want peace, meet me halfway. This is not surrender. This is survival, together. 1 month later, a new moon base was under construction. Terran and hive tech worked side by side. Small steps. Fragile. Trust. But something had shifted in the galaxy. Roran stood outside the new lab, watching the stars. Kayla walked beside him. No longer wearing armor. Just a simple jacket. A quiet smile. You sure they'll listen? He asked. She looked up. They already are. He nodded. You were meant to be the end. She smiled. I became the beginning.